The plane started falling apart mid-flight as it was flying from Vladivostok. The passengers were recording everything on video. How do military towns live, and why does the Russian Ministry of Defense ignore them?
There are no sewage treatment facilities. There is no outdoor lighting in the military town.
Unique footage from Artyakov's interrogation. The son of the deputy head of Rostec. He talks about his luxurious life in one of the NATO countries. Per
day I spend at least 1,000? Just on food expenses.
Teachers from the occupied territories are being sent into exile. Putin and Peskov are blocking not only the internet but also phone calls. Mothers are trying to bring their sons back from the war, while at the same time, war propaganda is in full swing. Hello everyone! My name is Yulia Kort and this is the program In Trend. Every day we bring you the latest news, show interesting videos and debunk fakes. In Russia, many important decisions are made according to the principle: whoever manages to shove a paper under your nose and deceive you is the one who's right. A guy from Stolitomak was studying at college, had a legal deferment and wasn't even thinking about the front. But then some helpful people showed up with a tempting offer. Take the medical exam for those who want to go fight. Nothing complicated, just a side job. And after the medical exam, they gave him a paper, supposedly just to confirm receipt. He signed it without looking. Without realizing it, he had signed a military contract. Now his mother is trying to get her son back, who was tricked into being sent to war.
My son is a third-year student at the Stolitomak College and has a deferment from compulsory military service until 2027. As it became known, at the end of October, residents of the city of Stolitomak, Dmitry and Zarina, were persuading students who had turned 18 to earn a decent amount of money by supposedly passing a medical exam on behalf of people who wanted to sign a contract for the special military operation. As a result, not only was my son sent to the special military operation, but they also tried to obtain money through fraudulent means. How can you sign a contract with an 18-year-old kid who hasn't even served in the army?
Sending 18-year-old boys to the front has already become the norm. There are already thousands of such cases across Russia. The military machine is running and propaganda is helping it. In Tyumen Oblast, they're recruiting for the war through loudspeakers. A minibus is calling people to sign contracts. And here's proof of what I'm saying. Contracts from the age of 18.
For foreign citizens, obtaining Russian Federation citizenship for themselves and their family members is available through a simplified process, as well as debt forgiveness of up to 10 million rubles, including microloans. Car loans, mortgages, and various types of consumer loans are available, with decent pay starting from at least 6 million rubles per year. Requirements for candidates include being at least 18 years old and being medically fit for employment. If you meet these criteria, you are encouraged to apply.
The Russian Ministry of Defense has once again shown its true colors. This is a military town in the Vladimir region. Everything here is by the book. There's no street lighting and no proper sewage facilities. There are no roads, garbage isn't collected, housing records aren't kept, but utility bills keep coming like clockwork. Even to houses where the residents have long since passed away.
The military town is in a state of limbo. It is not serviced by the Ministry of Defense. No funds are allocated for the maintenance of the military town's housing stock or the structures that support it. There are no sewage treatment facilities. Everything that leaves the military town goes straight into the river. There are no treatment facilities. There is no outdoor lighting in the military town. The roads in the military town leave much to be desired. In winter, they are not maintained by anyone, and they are not brought into a passable condition. No inspection of the housing stock is carried out. Inspection of the housing stock. Half of the apartments are abandoned and locked up. There are deceased people, but payment notices are still sent to them. And they have been gone for 3 to 5 years already.
Dead souls, just in a new way. Who lives in the town? Military pensioners and families of active service members, including those whose relatives are now fighting and dying in Putin's special military operation.
Please pay attention to us. Oblige the Ministry of Defense to provide comprehensive assistance to the residents of the military town in matters of housing, maintenance of the military town, and provision of all necessary resources for the livelihood of the population of our military town. And
Kostyrevo is not the only one like this. The same kind of care has already been experienced by Oleisk in the Altai region. Kubinka near Moscow, Chebarkul, and Borzia, where people regularly freeze to death in their homes in winter, as if they're taking part in some extreme survival show. Well, what did you expect? But officially everything is fine, no one is being abandoned. And now this is Yakutsk. A line for meat being sold in conditions that even a sanitary inspector from Roskomnadzor would only see in nightmares. People stand for hours to buy something that looks like it was dug out of the ground and forgotten to be wiped off with a shovel. Residents are lining up for meat that looks as if someone has already eaten it. But where's the gold? The diamond deposits, the oil, gas, coal, and basically the entire periodic table that the region is famous for. In Yakutia, they extract riches that feed the whole country, or rather, the oligarchs. All that's left here are the so-called spiritual bonds and Putin's stability. And the people, what do people have to do with it? They'll survive somehow. Well, Russia is a country of contrasts, after all. In Russia, they're making a comedy about the war. Apparently, the tragedy of war alone isn't enough for them anymore. The other side of the coin, a comedy about the war with Ukraine. Yes, you heard that right. The war is ongoing, people are dying, cities are being wiped off the map, and in Russia, they've decided it's the perfect time to have a laugh. According to the plot, a group of young volunteers arrives in the combat zone. The hero's first task is to set up a temporary post in a ruined house. The scriptwriter is a participant in the so-called special military operation. The whole country is in ruins, but they're filming a TV series. And the Russian audience is being told about serious crimes with humor. The real genre should have been a tragedy, not a comedy. Don't you think so? In a city with the telling name Orsk, a special military operation participant carried out a special operation to nationalize jewelry. Armed with a hammer, he burst into a jewelry store, smashed the display case, and took all the jewelry. So what do you think of your heroes now? Oh, Russians, isn't this what you dreamed of when you voted for Putin? Write your thoughts in the comments, let's discuss. Residents of the Pskov region continue to enjoy all the delights of life on the border. Now, a new amusement has been added to the list of bonuses, SIM card blocking. Thanks to new regulations, access can now be restricted for 24 hours. Now, mobile service there is just as stable as the Russian economy. Because of the unstable signal, mobile operators automatically switch subscribers to roaming onto Estonian and Latvian networks. As a result, access to the internet and SMS is restricted for a day in Russia. To remove the block, users have to constantly go through verification.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine Today. Join us now.
So what do you have to say about this? Russian operators have deactivated SIM cards for at least 2 Russians for traveling from Belgorod to Shebekino and for staying at home in Blagoveshchensk. I just don't get it. What does this mean? Have Shebekino and Blagoveshchensk stopped being part of Russia? Blagoveshchensk is located on the Chinese border, and Chinese networks are regularly picked up there, even with a Russian SIM card. Shebekino is located on the border with Ukraine. According to Peskov, the SIM card blocking system works flawlessly. And how is mobile service in your city? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like this video and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything interesting. A Russian will find a way out of any situation. We should have our own internet. That's just their nonsense. Under military censorship, it's hard to find honest street interviews. But they do exist and they surprise us every time. Look, this is like television for the brain.
I think Russia should be separate from everyone else. Honestly, we should have everything of our own. So we're all for it.
Well, negatively.
About what?
Well, I'd like to have access to read up-to-date news for today. Well, I think first and foremost it's just so that our people, they're afraid our people will hear someone else's opinion from the outside. It's going to be an informational issue. That's all. A Russian person, he always...
We'll definitely somehow eventually find a way out in the end. With any situation, that's how it is. We'll see what happens, and then we'll decide.
You know who she reminded me of? That well-known meme about the candy bober. Remember? Just as blissful?
And if I wear a candy baber on my head, that doesn't mean I'm a woman or a ballerina.
Putin's Russia is a digital concentration camp. But why is it only now that Russians are surprised to learn that, in reality, the state is deceiving them? For example, here's a story about how the money they earned doesn't actually belong to them at all. Now it's the bank's money, or to be precise, Putin's cronies' money.
I'm just lying here in the worst stress and I don't understand. What was that even about? I don't understand why, as someone who pays taxes, I have to think like a fraudster just to accept payments in my professional activity in such a way that the bank doesn't get suspicious that I'm doing something wrong. Why can't I just accept payments if you can see that I'm, damn it, paying taxes from your account? I honestly have no idea what to do.
At this point, it's not far from having apartments seized and people thrown out onto the street. Or has that already happened? What a time to be alive! Teachers from Berdyansk are being sent into exile. Berdyansk, occupied by Russian thugs, has experienced all the joys of the Russian world, especially public sector workers. Local teachers are being planned to be sent to Russia's Far East, and they'll be replaced by teachers from Moscow. The locals have recorded video appeals in the hope that Putin will hear them.
Teachers from Berdyansk are being told to go work in the Far East. Teachers from Moscow are being sent here, while all the locals are being sent far away. And there will be no compensation or payments at all.
It's sad because they themselves chose to work for the Russians, teach propaganda lessons in schools, and force our children to love a foreign country. It's a pity they realized the consequences of collaborationism so late. It's been a while since I told you how Russian aviation is doing under Western sanctions. To be honest, there's a lot to talk about. Planes are still falling apart mid-flight, but there are no spare parts. There are no alternatives, and they haven't been able to fix the situation. A passenger plane flying from Vladivostok to Blagoveshchensk had its engine casing tear off right during the flight. The airliner was forced to make an emergency landing in Khabarovsk. The flight was operated by a Sukhoi Superjet 100 of the airline Rossiya. There were 90 passengers and crew members on board. And now I'll show you unique footage of the interrogation of the son of Rostec's first deputy head, who, in the fourth year of what they call the War with the West, was detained at a villa in Girona, Spain. The state corporation Rostec manufactures weapons for the Russian army. The son of Vladimir Artyakov, Dmitry, along with his family and friends, continued to travel to his villa in Spain and live his luxury lifestyle there.
I live in Spain. We come here all the time. I pay the luxury tax. I pay all the taxes in general. I can't live any other way because my father is a very respectable man.
Do you have a foreigner's identification document, a foreigner number in Spain?
My whole family and I do. I have an investor residence permit since 2014.
Why did you have approximately 225,000 euros in cash at your residence?
Because every year I receive... We have 8 to 10 people coming over. And since I have a big family and friends come over, I spend at least 1,000, sometimes 1,200 a day on food. Dmitry.
Artyakov told the Spanish authorities that he works at the strategic freight railway company Modum Trans. He is its director and owner, but did not explain what kind of company it is. Previously, it was called UVZ Logistic. The lion's share of the freight company, that's 75%, ended up with Dmitry Artyakov. It continued to transport cargo for the Russian tank giant. Blogger Lerchek, a 33-year-old marathon runner who is currently under house arrest and suspected of transferring 250 million out of Russia using forged documents. Valeria Chekalina became pregnant while under house arrest. The case materials include a certificate from a gynecologist stating that Valeria is expecting her fourth child. Valeria divorced her husband back in 2024. Now people are even getting pregnant while under arrest, fulfilling Putin's plan. And while we're on the subject, who started all this commotion with Lerchek? The tax authorities. Blinovskaya is also in trouble because of them. Meanwhile, the Voronezh branch of the Federal Tax Service is entertaining itself as best it can. They've gotten seriously into music and did their own cover of a popular song. With auto-tune on, 2 tax office employees are calling on Russians to pay off their debts.
No matter how many times you say it, the law is the same for everyone. Pay your taxes and make sure you do not go off on your own. Remember, your property is almost, but not entirely, yours. Always strive to be on time and ensure you meet the minimum tax requirements. Do not be late, and do not forget to sing as it brings joy and unity. Show respect to others for the good and benefit of the whole country. And always remember the importance of meeting the tax minimum. Oh, I don't know. Oh, the tax minimum. If you have your own legal business and your income is phenomenal, declare it, record everything properly. The law isn't a little girl. Don't allow delays, otherwise you'll get charged penalties. Forget about your dreams of swimming in money. My brain's not working, that's a fact. Hotels. No matter how many times I've been told, the law is the same for everyone. Pay your taxes, keep your office in order, and don't let inspections catch you off guard. Always pay on time, don't be late for long, and don't forget about penalties. The law is your friend for the good of the whole country. This is the tax minimum. This is the tax minimum for this situation.